We're developing an organic, no-till sweet potato production system for our growers here in North Carolina. Compost was applied in the fall. Cover crops were seeded using a Brilliant cultipacker, which served two purposes: seeded the cover crops as well as flattened the tops of the hills that were made following compost. In the spring, when vetch was at mid-bloom, the cover crops were killed by rolling with the Brilliant cultipacker. Ideally, the cover crop should be rolled in all the same direction for ease of transplant. Over the 3 years that we've been working on this system, the dry matter production of the rye has ranged from 3 to 8,000 pounds per acre. We found that we get the most weed suppression with an increase in dry weight of rye. This is the residue remaining 60 days after transplanting sweet potato. Mostly what remains is the rye. Although we do have some vetch regrowth, I don't perceive this to be a problem. We've had a fair amount of this residue remaining at harvest, which generally is about 100 days after transplanting for Beauregard. This area has been hand-weeded 3 times. These plants are about 60 days old now, and they were planted in late June. The foliage growth that you see here is right about maximum. These sweet potato transplants are actually sections of vine that are also known as slips. Generally, they are without roots, and they were transplanted using a no-till transplanter designed by Ron Morse at Virginia Tech. The transplants are spaced about 10.5 inches apart, and you can see here how the residue is cut with the coulter and slightly moved to the side, but yet it remains fairly well intact and undisturbed following the day of transplant. One of the biggest concerns for organic growers is weed suppression. Beauregard is the dominant variety for sweet potato growers in our area here in North Carolina, but it's slow to vine out, so we're not really convinced that this is the best variety to use. Other varieties such as Jewel are very quick to vine out, but they have less yield than Beauregard. Hernandez might be another option. It has an intermediate vining speed between Beauregard and Jewel, and also has an intermediate yield.